Hello guys and welcome to my Managing the Kingdom of Miscellania guide. So in this guide I'm going to go over what is Kingdom of Miscellania, what are the requirements to start it, how do you get there, why you want to do Kingdom of Miscellania, not only if you're an Iron Man but also for a main. They both have absolutely huge benefits and it really doesn't take up much time at all. There are a couple of quest requirements and stuff and I will head over them in a second, but the main reason you want to do Kingdom of Miscellania, if you're an Iron Man, is to get those are quite difficult resources such as hardwood logs. You can also get birds' nests. You can get all sorts. And obviously if you're a main, you can get all those things as well as make a tidy profit. So to start off with, what are the requirements for Kingdom of Miscellania? First of all, you will need to have completed the Heroes quest and the Fremennik Trials quest, as well as having 45 woodcutting, 10 farming, 30 mining and 35 fishing, as well as all the other requirements needed to complete Heroes quest as well as the Fremennik Trials quest as mentioned a moment ago. Now what this isn't going to be is a full quest guide and stuff on how to get here. So by this point I'm hoping you've already done all the quests getting up to this part. Now if you have done the Throne of Miscellania quest, I would highly recommend doing the quest after that called Royal Trouble. Now that is because you get an extra 50% of resources to use. So overall, if you've just done the Throne of Miscellania quest, you get 10 resources to allocate to different resources around Miscellania. Now if you have completed Royal Trouble as well, that increases that to 15. So as you can see, there's quite a big difference there, and you will definitely notice a difference. Alright, so now you know a little bit more about the Kingdom of Miscellania. Let's show you how to get there. There are actually 4 ways of getting here, and I'm going to show you the quickest 2 first of all. So first of all, the most common way of getting there would be going to either your jewelry box or getting a Ring of Wealth, and then just clicking on Miscellania. So as you can see in the jewelry box, it's I. And it takes you right here, just in front of the castle actually, which is actually a really good place, especially if you want to do some maple trees. And then the second quickest way to get here is going to a fairy ring and typing in CIP. That'll take you just north of the castle, south of the penguins up here. And as you can see, that's better for you if you're wanting to mine. As again, we'll go over in a moment which one is better for you and which one you should be doing to get your favor the quickest. There are 2 other ways of getting here as well. One of them is a really obscure way, which you need 83 farming for, and you need to plant a spirit tree, which I don't have planted, but it's down here. Now I wouldn't recommend doing that one obviously because it takes you quite out of the way. And getting to a spirit tree can be quite difficult. However, if you do have one in your house, then that may be beneficial for you later on, and I'll show you why when we get into the best methods. And then finally, the last way to get here is just to go to Relica by any means you need. Obviously, there is a house portal just south down here, and a Slayer ring takes you to the caves over here. Of course, there is another fairy ring there, but why would you be using that fairy ring when you could just use the one directly to Miscellania? So yeah, this obviously the Fremennik Sea Boots 4 will teleport you into the center of the market, and then you just want to run up north and then speak to this guy on the dock. The sailor, if you right click and travel, this will take you onto the docks, which are at the southeast of the island. So again, that just takes you over here, which is probably the quickest way to get to one of the fishing patches. And that is all 4 ways of how to get to the Kingdom of Miscellania. And now let's get on to the reward section of this guide. So the main reason people do Miscellania, like I mentioned before, is either for resources that are hard to get if you're an Iron Man, or if you're a main player, it's for getting resources to basically sell and make money. Now, how the material cost and things is worked out isn't something that is easy to explain. So what I'll be doing is doing a brief explanation here, and then I'll leave some links down in the description. So if you want to go and check it out yourself, feel free to. The way this is calculated is you put money into a coffers, and then a set amount of money is taken out each day to pay the subjects for the work they have done and the resources they have collected. Now, each resource has a cost associated with it per item that is collected. So let's start off with the coffers, for example. If you've only done the Kingdom of Miscellania quest, a maximum of 50k per day can be taken out of your coffers. And if you've done the Royal Trouble quest, that increases to 75k per day. You also need to make sure that you have 10 times that amount in your coffers at any one time, because the maximum that the kingdom will ever take is 10% of what is in the coffers. So say for example you've only done Kingdom of Miscellania, every day a maximum of 50k can be taken out, but in order for that 50k to be taken out, you need to have all your 10 subjects assigned to something, and you also need to have a minimum of 500k in there every single day. So what I would recommend doing is putting a couple of million there and then making sure you're topped up to 100% approval every single day. I'll be showing you how to get approval in the next clip, so don't worry, we'll be going over that very soon. So I hope you now understand like the coffers and the payment side of things. So let's move on to the cost of materials like I was mentioning before. Now this is very dependent upon a lot of things. However, two things are certain, and that is mining and wood. So when you have a subject mining coal, each coal that is mined has a cost associated to it of 91.6 GP each, which of course will be taken out of the coffers. When it comes to wood, there are 3 types of trees that can be chopped, and there are technically 4 options you can have selected. So you can have it either on maples, you can have it on teaks, hardwood, which is mahogany, or of course you can have it on both of the teak and mahogany. So say for example you want to do maples, so that will be a cost of 56.1 GP per log each day. If you wanted to do teak trees, it is 166.1 each. Mahogany's is 224.6 each, and then if you're doing both mahogany and teak, it works out around about 191.3 GP each, which is basically just splitting the difference. Again, this is something that isn't really too, you don't have to focus on it too much. There is a fantastic calculator which I will basically show you on screen right now. I'll leave a link to this in the description as well, so if you're really not interested in how it all works out and stuff, and you just want to know what is the best profit to get, then please make sure you check out that link. It will be the calculator link in the description. Alright, so quickly before we do get into gathering approval, I want to go over what approval is. Now, approval is basically how much the people in the kingdom like you, and of course that includes your subjects. So basically you want to keep your approval at 100% every single day for you to get the best reward potential. And yes, it does actually matter that you come back here every single day and get your approval rating to 100%. It's a common myth that as long as you get your approval up to 100% before collecting, everything will be fine. That is not in fact the case. You need to come back here every single day and keep it at 100% in order to get the best out of the kingdom. If you're unsure of what your approval is, if you don't have a third-party client that pops up automatically in the top left-hand corner here with your approval when you come to Miscellania, if you just go over to one of your subjects, right-click, check approval, as you can see here, we have 85% of approval, which is exactly what we have up here as well. So quickly, just before we do get into the approval ratings, how you lose it and how you gain it, I just want to give you a quick disclaimer. Now, these numbers are not 100% accurate, and that is near impossible for me to get. However, I have been here for around about 2 hours now, and I've been trying to get my approval down and back up again just to give you guys the best representation of how the kingdom actually works. So as you can see, your approval rating is given to you in a whole number, which is 85% for me at the moment. However, doing tasks around the kingdom don't give you whole numbers of approval. For example, some stuff gives you 0.33% approval, some stuff gives you closer to 1%, so it's like 0.75, and some stuff does give you a flat 1%, which is incredibly difficult to work out what gives you what exactly, because you don't actually know what your full approval rating is. So there are actually 3 ways you can lose approval on Miscellania. Now the first one would be a general decay effect, which will take place every single day. So after 24 hours, your approval will drop between 1 and 2%, which is why you need to come back here every single day and make sure that your approval is back at 100%. The second way to get your approval down is by stealing from the stalls. So as you can see, mine is currently 77. If I steal a fish from this stall, it will drop down to 74. Now that's anywhere between 2 and 3% per stall. Like I said, it's a very weird way of calculating it, and it isn't exact. There you go, I lost 4% that time, but usually it is around 2 to 3%. And then the other way you can lose approval is by killing these lovely people here, and you will lose around about 5% for killing someone. That time it was 4, but that was because it took an extra percent off me before. Like I said, it is very random and it's not exact. So I would say for these stalls it's between 2 and 3%, and for a person it's between 4 and 5%. So you don't want to kill anyone, you don't want to steal basically. Now then, the way to get your favor up, you can do a multitude of things. So when you've only done the Kingdom of Miscellania, you only have access to gain approval on Miscellania itself. Now you can actually gain approval on etc. if you have done Royal Trouble. However, we'll go over the ones that you can only do on Miscellania for now. So you'll notice that just outside the castle down here, there is a herb symbol. Now there are flax and also herbs, and you can rake these for 2.5% per 3 of these herbs that you actually rake. So for example, if we rake all 3 of these, we'll get about 2.5% added on to our approval. Now again, it's between 2 and 3, but I think it's roughly 2.5% for every 3 that you gain. So this is actually one of the quicker ways to get your approval up, which not a lot of people know about. So we're currently sat back at 70 approval. So let's quickly just drop these, and you can stay here and just do these at a time if you want to, or you can move on to another way. Now, this is one of the slowest ways, but it's one of the ones I see being used the most common, which I don't quite understand. So if you go over to the center of the island over here, you'll notice that there are maple trees. So if you chop a maple tree down, when you receive a log, it will not go into your inventory. So this guy here instead will shout thanks, and that's how you know you've gotten a log. You will also get 1 XP. Usually they last a little bit longer than that. You don't get 1% per log, unfortunately. You get 0.33% favor per log. Which is a bit of a pain. So it takes quite a while to get it up if you have a lower woodcutting level. As you can see with mine, I chop logs pretty quickly anyway. So let's move over to the mining section, which is just to the northwest of the island near the fairy ring. Now this one is again a really good way to get your approval up, and it's one of my favored ways, to be fair. So if you just mine a rock, you get 0.75% of your approval back up, which is amazing. As well, mining is slightly quicker than woodcutting. I believe it's a 3-tick action regardless, whereas woodcutting is a 4-tick action. Please correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments below. But as you can see here, it's a little faster to get your approval up. So I would prefer doing mining. However, it's a little less AFK than doing the maples, because of course every time you mine a rock you have to click on another one. Maples can last there for ages before they deplete. There is one more way you can get your favor up, and that's whilst you're on Miscellania. Now that's why I have a harpoon and a lobster net. You can come over to the docks here, and as you'll see, there are little fishing spots. So you can either cage some lobsters or you can harpoon the tunas and swordfish. Again, this guy will say thanks when you've gotten one. That again will give you 0.33 approval per one that you catch. So now we're on etc. and you need Royal Trouble in order to be able to gain favor on this side of the island. You cannot lose favor on this side though, which is very interesting. You can steal from this stall and kill people within here, and it doesn't actually affect your rating or approval rating, which is bizarre. But anyway, you can chop down trees and you can also chop down mahoganies. So it's a little bit like the maples that we did over on Miscellania, but of course it gives you 0.75% favor each one, which is similar to the coal rocks, as opposed to 0.33 from the maples. So it's a little bit more AFK and it's a little bit better experience. However, if you do want to get up your favor as quickly as possible, the best way to do it is bring in a couple of watering cans with you, a rake and some compost, and I'll show you why now. So over on this section just here, this is by far the best way you can get your approval up. So if we use some, this can be super compost or normal compost, it doesn't matter. I just had a super compost sat in the bank. If we use it on the barren patch here, that will give us a full % of favor. And then if we rake these weeds, we'll go from 83 up to 84, and then it should be 85 we stop. As you can see there, we've gotten up to 85%. And then if we go over to these dried patches here and just use your watering can on them twice, you will go up from 85 to 87, it should be. And then if you wait for literally just a couple of seconds, it will all respawn again. So as you can see, you can just carry on doing this. So if you've been on a long break from RuneScape for whatever reason and you want to get your approval rating up the quickest way, the best way to do it is over here. As you can see, it's just very, very quick to do. But of course, the best way by far to get your favor up is just to teleport to Miscellania every single day and then just rake those weeds where the flax are and the herbs are. This is also a very good way if you want to do AFK, and you're not, like I said, if you don't want to click too much, this is definitely the second best way to do it. But of course you need Royal Trouble in order to do that. Like I said, I'm sorry that the percentages are not exact numbers. If they do change and they do release these in the future though, I'll be sure to let you guys know either in the description down below or in the comment box. Of course, I will pin the comment. But as you can see here, my approval has just gone from basically 90% to 100 incredibly quickly just from chopping these teak trees. And that took literally no time at all. So anyway, guys, I hope you did find this useful. If you did, don't forget to smash the like button. Hit subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll see you soon for my next video.